first of all, the background. I got in contact with, the first time I got to know about Eiffel was in a software center project that you headed, Christian, and Asim was involved as well. I don't know, is Asim here today? No, but he's in the media.
He's on vacation.
Yeah, okay.
After his PhD defense.
Yeah, but he developed sort of a proof of concept visualization tool called Vici and later Eiffel Store. And we tried, we did some work on that one to see if we could use that to visualize what we currently have. And we quickly came to the conclusion that we couldn't, not because it couldn't visualize the events, but because it didn't scale. I personally expected a tool that could visualize event chains in real time. Not because that would be very user friendly to stakeholders all over Axis, but because it would be nice for people that were doing Eiffel related work that know the protocol. It's sort of a low level visualization tool. But it didn't scale. The performance wasn't good enough. And it wasn't built to cope with real-time visualization. So we gave up on that idea and paused that. Then some time ago, Miroslav Stalon, one of the researchers in Gothenburg in Software Center, approached me and said that they have a course. And the point of that course is that a group of students should work in an industry-like setting where they have all the different roles in this group: project manager, some form of testing, and yeah, a couple of developers and so on, and that they should work in sprints and yeah, develop a finished product similar to what you do in industry once you're out there, and do that together with a company, with real stakeholders. And that would be me and Isaac in this case. And that was 6 or 7 students for half a year. So quite a lot of hours. And for us, that was free work pretty much, because we were, of course, we were supervisors and stakeholders, we gave feedback and so on. But for us, it did not mean, it didn't take much of our time really, since they have their own project manager and they do demos and so on. So we thought that, okay, yeah, let's have another stab at this real-time visualization problem. And since performance was the problem, the biggest problem with EiffelViz and so on, we said that focus for now should be performance. And the requirements then were basically the backend should be able to handle whatever we get on RabbitMQ. So it should be faster than RabbitMQ. So it should be written in a low-level language, or not really low level. They opted for Rust, and there shouldn't be any database behind that. It should be all in memory as fast as possible. Since it was going to be a real-time visualization tool, history wasn't that interesting. But of course, they should try to be able to handle as many events as possible. I mean, to keep that in memory at the same time. So the event representation needed to be compact, of course. And they did quite a lot of work on profiling that code and setting up event generators so that they could really push the boundaries of what the backend could do. And they succeeded in doing that. And then we have the front-end part, which is going to be the bottleneck, of course, but it should be able to handle more than the eyes of the observer. So we sort of said that, okay, 10,000 events, you should be able to handle 10,000 events in the front end, while still not being too sluggish. So they did that and used WebSockets to communicate with the backend. And that was take one. That was the last. That was half a year ago, a bit more than that. And then we also said that it shouldn't be an access tool. So it should be out on GitHub from the very start. They should try to do this, to make this a good fit into what we have in the Eiffel community right now. When it comes to licensing, documentation, and so on. So they created this repository, EiffelVis. And I think I'll try to show it's up and running right now. Hopefully. Let's see if this works. Yeah, it does. So this is what's happening right now at Access. So all these events that are coming around now, they are real. So this is activity on the firmware platform here at Access. And as you can see, the visual aspects of this visualization tool are pretty crude. So it's pretty difficult to read this still. And let's see if we have something interesting. But you can, of course, you have different colors for different events. And you can, hover over things and click events and see what this is. So in this case, it's an event sent by, it's a test tweet that started from a certain host, and the system is Ethos Test Runner, which is the system that Tobias and Fredrik are building. And it's pretty interesting to let's see if we can get plenty of events in while I talk. And the current work that they are doing right now is to improve the visual aspects of this without breaking the performance of this. And first of all, it's going to be, there needs to be more visual cues as to what events we're seeing in the beginning. So we should have more than just dots with colors. And we need good filtering. Otherwise, it's not that. I mean, of course, it's fascinating to just look at all the activity in the pipeline, but if you work with a certain tool and want to follow the event chain to see, like you said, Magnus, to see where things go wrong, if they go wrong, you need to filter this so that you only get the events that you're interested in. So that's number 2. And then we also plan to have sort of a non-interactive mode for this tool as well. Because like I said in the beginning, this is sort of a fun project, a fun side project, which is very cheap for us. So, but it's very fascinating to look at. So we would like to be able to just show this, let's say on a TV on a wall, to see all the activity in the firmware platform, because after all these dots this is work. And it's called, of course, it's always fascinating to look at all the activity that is going on. Let's see what this is. Yeah, that's another test suite, of course. And then we also play with other ideas of how to improve the visual aspects of this. And right now they are working with integrating these changes that they've already done into the GitHub repository that you see here. They have 1 million forks right now, unfortunately. But I guess that's one part of learning how to work in an industrial context, seeing that integration can be a major thing. So that is what they're doing right now. And then they will also implement other small, nice to have features, themes, the possibility to use the keyboard to traverse the graph instead, and so on. And then we'll see where they end up. This group will be done. They're supposed to be finished in January sometime. And then the idea is to invite them here, and then we can together look at the tools and discuss ideas of how to improve this even more in the future. One thing that I think would be very interesting would be if the next group of students would be handled not just by Axis, but by someone else from some other company. I think it would be very interesting to discuss feature requests and so on with Ericsson, for example, something like that, because it's doesn't take much time, and it's a fun thing to do. We don't have a clear view of what to use this for, to be honest. But it's, we can see the performance here. I mean, it's this is on a pretty low power device that I'm running on right now, and as you can see, we already have quite a few events here, and I think the performance is good, and let's see if they can keep it that way. Yeah, that's pretty much what I had. I'm not going to go into the features that are currently there because I'm, to be honest, not entirely sure how to use them, and there are still some bugs, so it could be not very good demo if I do that. So I'll just let it be like it is here. Yeah, that's it. I hope it's somewhat interesting.
I think it's fascinating to see these graphs growing up all the time. That's interesting. But maybe that's where the usefulness ends. It's fascinating, and then it more or less, and then what's next, as you said.
Yeah.
So to be able to make use of this in a better way, of course, this is a lot quicker probably than what Vici does today. But then Vici adds other features which this does not have. For example, aggregating events and showing, I guess, different colors if things fail or succeed and such things.
Yeah.
So if we could maybe combine those somehow, I don't know, aggregate or maybe even filter on events here, so only see, like, for example, activity events, or only see, I don't know, a certain family of events, group of events or something. And then I guess because today we don't see any data from within the events here, right? It's just the colors just are the event types themselves.
Yeah, no, what you see here in the green box is basically what we have right now.
Yeah, I mean, in the overall graph, we don't see any data from the events. It's just the event types in the graph itself. Yeah.
No. One thing that I said something about more visual cues and so on. And of course, we want different shapes for different events, but we're also going to show link types, for example. So you should be able to see what events are there without hovering. And you should be able to see incoming and outgoing link types as well. But it's still low level, and the current plan is to keep it that way until we have a very clear picture of what type of aggregations we would like to do and so on. But we take it in small steps, because I mean it's a graph, so it's just one mistake and the complexity will end up in space. Yeah, so. But I think it would be very interesting to get feedback from you guys, since you know how to actually work with the protocol. Me and Isak, we have a very shallow understanding of how this is used in practice. I mean, the level above the actual events and event types and so on. What type of aggregations would make sense? We don't really know. We're not there yet. Yeah, that's what I had.
Thank you. It would be good to get some feedback from Asim, who had done a study on visualization of Eiffel events, if he would see that this would solve any of the use cases that he has come up with during that study. I don't know, Christian, have you heard anything of those use cases which could be solved by this visualization system?
Well, it's the real-time thing, and that is, of course, very convincing. Otherwise, it's, as you said, Ola, it's a thing done for fun, from where you can find interesting parts. Of course, there are a lot of things missing, but you can also see already here, you can watch some of the events that have very many links, for instance. So hovering up on this can perhaps give us some information about bottlenecks or other things, but we don't know yet. Our plans for the future in Software Center is more to try to start cooperation with visualization experts and look more into existing ways of visualizing network. But if that will end up with a practical thing that works in real time, I don't know. So because that would require quite a lot of work with the database to make the optimizations needed.
Yeah.
Which of course can be done, but that's for much longer period.
Yeah.
But then of course, if this can be combined with some kind of aggregation, you will get similar benefits as EiffelVis is doing today, to have the aggregated view and then the possibility of drill down.
Yeah, exactly.
So that are also things for continued development along this line.
One thing that I actually see could potentially be a use case for this, if it would be expanded to include parts of the routing key that was used. As you might know, in Ericsson, we have this huge number of domains, and we send events in different domains. And it would be nice to see here which of these links are actually going between different domains and which are internal in one domain. Yes. Our reason for having domains is more or less to group different products in different domains. So if there are a lot of connections between these products, then we might have done something wrong when dividing the domains.
That's exactly the type of feedback that we would like to have later on. I mean, still, this is very, very low level, and it will be very low level for some time. But sooner or later, we will get to the more real use cases.
Any more questions from anyone else? None. Okay, thank you, Ola. Stop the recording.